What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so this is a requested video from my subscribers, and they wanted me to do a comparison between Rick Adelman and Doc Rivers as coaches. Who's the better coach? Now, I think there's really no question that Doc Rivers is the more accomplished coach. He has won an NBA championship. Rick Adelman did not. He did not win an NBA championship. Now, both of them have been in NBA Finals. Doc Rivers had been to 2 NBA Finals, I believe, 2008 and I believe 2010, winning 1, 2008. Rick Adelman went to 2 NBA Finals as well, 1990 and 1992. Unfortunately for him, his team at the time, the Portland Trailblazers, failed to defeat Isaiah Thomas and the Pistons in 90 and Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls in 92. Rick Adelman has a rather impressive coaching resume. Look at his overall resume as a head coach. He's a 3-time NBA All-Star Game head coach. And he won the Chuck Daly Lifetime Achievement Award last year. His overall coaching record in the regular season is 1,042 victories versus 749 defeats for a 58.2% winning percentage. It's pretty good. Postseason, not as good. 79 victories, 78 defeats for a 50.3% postseason win percentage. Still a good record, though. Still a good record. Still a great coaching record. Is he a Hall of Famer? As far as coaching is concerned, absolutely. He's in the Basketball Hall of Fame. Doc Rivers, though, has had a sensational coaching career. Despite the naysayers, he is a top 15 coach in the history of the NBA. As far as his coaching resume, as I said before, NBA champion 2008, NBA Coach of the Year back in 2000. I think he was with the Orlando Magic at that time. 4-time NBA All-Star Game head coach. And as I said before, top 15 coach in NBA history. His overall coaching record, and that's going, I believe, into this season. So this doesn't include this year, but we're trying to make the adjustments. So I think the Bucks are 14-11. So that would mean that he has 1,128 coaching victories versus 793 coaching losses. So that probably says 588 here. Probably a 587 coaching win percentage, which is real good. Very good. Postseason, 113 victories, 108 defeats. Now, one of the knocks on Rick Adelman is that sometimes he could be overly stubborn with his schemes and not make the proper adjustments. He was not very, well, I won't say he wasn't very good, but he wasn't known for being the type of coach that could develop young talent. And also, you know, he could perhaps rely too much on the key players, the key cogs, and not necessarily giving younger guys more play, or if somebody in the starting lineup that's one of the mainstays isn't playing well, and a guy, you know, on the bench may not be getting many minutes, but he's playing well, he may not make the adjustments to get that guy extra minutes. That's one of the knocks on Rick Adelman. And also, I mean, just in general, he didn't win the big games. But to be fair, I mean, Rick Adelman was playing in a conference that was very, very talented. And, he was often in championship rounds playing against some of the great players in the history in the NBA, some of the great teams. But he was a coach favorite. He was a player favorite. He was very well liked by NBA players in the league when he was coaching. One of the most popular players, one of the most popular coaches in the NBA. Players liked him. He was, he wasn't a Bill Belichick type personality. Doc Rivers, the knock on him are similar. That even though he won a championship, the perception is that it was the star power that won that title in 2008. There's a perception that Doc Rivers sometimes doesn't get it done. Okay? He doesn't get it done when it matters. And, also, there's also the belief that sometimes he can be stubborn as well as far as making adjustments, not playing younger players, sticking to his rotations. Kind of similar criticisms that you would see with Rick Adelman. Doc tends to emphasize more on the defensive end of the ball and teamwork, and trying to improve the flow of the offense and things like that. And, at the end of the day, this is one of my criticisms of people that are overly critical of Doc Rivers. I've always said part of it is I think there's a stupid racial element behind that. And when I say that, I'm not even talking about white folks. I'm telling you, man, it's like a weird self-hatred I'm seeing with some black people and how they go at their own kind. I'm just going to call it out. I'm going to call it out for what it is. It's bullshit. Also, there's this. I've never liked the fact that people will say this about Doc Rivers, right? Well, when he loses, it's his fault, right? Doc didn't get him over the hook. Doc didn't do his job coaching. And I put this on Doc. But when they win, it's the players. It's KG, it's Paul Pierce, it's, Ray Allen, it's Rondo. It's the players that's doing it and not any influence from Doc. That's kind of weird, you know what I'm saying? That's some hating. That's some hater stuff. Because, you'll hear people say, well, look what Spoelstra's done. Look at the job Spoelstra's doing as a coach, man. He's taking his teams to finals and blah, 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 yakety schmackety. And that's a good point, right? It's a great point. But why can't we also say that when they were losing in Miami, when they underachieved, when it was the Heatles, why don't Spoelstra get some of that smoke? I mean, we all give it to LeBron James, and rightfully so. And now we're giving more of it, the smoke to Dwayne Wade. But Spoelstra should get some of that blame too, right? Spoelstra should get some of that same blame. At the end of the day, coaches, I think, improve teams around the margins. It's up to the players. I agree with Shaq to a great extent. It's up to the players on the court. But coaching matters to a certain extent too. So I don't care what Shaq says. Shaq didn't win unless he had a great goddamn coach. Period. He can't maneuver around that. You won when your coach was Phil Jackson and Pat Riley. Period. And when you had the mediocre coaches, the Brian Hills, you know what I'm saying? You didn't win very much. Coaching does matter down a stretch of games. It does. Coaching does matter. In close ball games, superior coaching does matter. I'm not a fan of this trend where they say coaching doesn't matter at all. To a superstar, maybe not. But to an established, mature superstar, maybe not. But to a younger player or marginal players, coaching does matter. Because you gotta, as Katie Smith said, sometimes you got to get these guys in a mental mind frame where they can go out there and do the job they have to do. And, you got guys who coach while they're on the floor. You got players who are on the court who are an extension of the coach. To me, Bill Russell is the most brilliant player just about in the history of the NBA. That's why he was the first player head coach. And he won 2 championships as the player head coach. The guy was brilliant. It won't just, trust me, it won't just Red Auerbach out there. You had 2 brilliant head coaches out there, Red Auerbach and Bill Russell, in my opinion. He may not have been the best player from a skill standpoint, but what he did better than anybody else in the history of the NBA. And that is be an extension of the coach out there on the floor. But anyway, at the end of the day, I have to go with, this is a no-brainer, Doc Rivers. Doc Rivers won a championship. Doc Rivers has had many accomplishments, over 1,000 coaching victories, a championship. And I like what he's doing right now with the Milwaukee Bucks. He turned them around from a 2-8 start, and today, the very day I'm recording this video, the Bucks will play the Thunder for the NBA Cup championship. Now, it's just interesting to me how last year this cup meant so much, and now all of a sudden, with certain fans, now all of a sudden it doesn't matter anymore. But it mattered enough that your king actually had a ceremony where that banner went up with other real championships. But now all of a sudden it doesn't matter anymore. Anyway, that's all I got to say about it. Tell me what you guys think.